All right, so we are in activity 1.16. And before we get started in the unit itself, we are going to talk about the embedded assessment. And now the embedded assessment, I've mentioned this early on. This is the end of quarter essay that you are going to write. And so that's not until like November 5th or something. So while it's far away, it's still pretty soon. So I want to go ahead and talk about it so that you get a better understanding of what you're going to be doing. So unpacking the embedded assessment, read the assignment for embedded assessment 1, writing a literary analysis essay closely to identify and analyze the components of the assignment. So your assignment will be to write a literary analysis in which you analyze how Zadie Smith uses literary devices or other elements to express the theme of coping with emotional turmoil in the short story Martha, Martha. So there's a lot there. First of all, we're talking about literary analysis. Now, remember last year we did write we wrote a few literary analyses. The one that we went over together was Gift of the Magi. Remember where Della, uh, Della and Jim were buying gifts for each other, and Della bought a watch part for Jim, and then he bought her a comb for her hair, and then she ended up cutting off all of her hair, and he sold his watch. So, and then we wrote an analysis about it. And then you each had individual stories that you wrote a literary analysis on. So you're going to be doing that again. You're going to be reading a story, which happens to be Martha, Martha. You're going to read that story, and you're going to come up with a theme, and you're going to give evidence from the text that supports what you say the theme is. So using the assessment and scoring guide, you're going to analyze the prompt and create a graphic organizer to use as visual reminder of the required concepts. So what do you need to know and what skills do you need to know? And then you don't have a reader's writer's notebook. So then you're going to, so what we talk about from here on is going to be directly related to what you do in your literary analysis at the end of quarter 1. And starting with using literary devices, we're going to review what literary devices are and then other elements. And then also we're going to talk about themes some more. So you guys are going to start having you're going to have some quizzes coming up just so that I know that you know, like, what is theme? What is irony? What is certain words? So, and I'll let you know when those happen, but we're going to start having quizzes. So if you are interested, if you come up here to the table of contents and you go down to after 1.21, it says the embedded assessment 1, writing a literary analysis. If you click on that, it will take you, maybe it's really slow, it will take you to the assessment itself. So you're going to plan and pre-write, you're going to draft, you will evaluate and revise, and then you will edit, and then you will finally turn in your essay. And then here's the scoring guide. So if you want an exemplary, that's what you're looking for, essay, you're going to have these type of responses. If you're like, no, I just want it to be okay, it's good enough, then you'll have these, these, oh my gosh, go away. You'll have these responses. And then if you're not quite there yet, this is what your essay will look like. And if you just don't do it, or it's not, you don't have some of the things that you need, then you'll have incomplete. So it's like any other rubric that you've had for me. So there's that. So that's coming up at the end of quarter 1. But in the meantime, let's go back to like what we're working on, 1.16. And guess what this book has you reading? Guess what? Just guess. Maybe. No. Guess what? We're going to read Gift of the Magi again. But this time, which I think it's wonderful. It's a story that you are familiar with, and so you don't have to worry about not understanding the story. We're just going to look at it in a different light. Okay? We're going to come up with a different theme for this story than what we did last year. The theme that we came up with last year is there is no greater gift than love. Remember that theme? Remember we talked and talked and talked about that as the theme. So we're going to try to come up with a new theme. Because remember, stories can have more than one theme. And while we're talking about theme, what is theme? What does it mean? Do you remember? It's the message of the story, right? What is the deeper meaning? What is the deeper message of the story? So for today and tonight, you are going to read, and go ahead and read about William Sidney Porter, the author of The Gift of the Magi. Go ahead and read that. And then I want you to read this version of Gift of the Magi. It is slightly different than the one that we read. It's the same story, it's just told in a slightly different way. Okay? So go ahead and read through this. It is a bit long, but you're familiar with the story, so it shouldn't be too bad. Then what you're going to do is, let me remind myself what you're doing. I would like for you to answer questions 1, 2, and 5. So for your homework, you are going to read the story and you are going to answer questions 1, 2, and 5. So I'm going to go over the questions really quickly just so that you understand. Number 1, what evidence has O. Henry provided in the text to support the inference that Della and Jim do not have a lot of money? So you are going to pull evidence from the text that shows that they do not have a lot of money. Now, yes, of course you can copy and paste, but there are multiple places in here. So don't just give me one, give me several places where we can make a guess that these two people do not have a lot of money. Then number 2, by the end of paragraph 6, the reader has met the two main characters, Della and Jim, and has a sense of their relationship. How does understanding their relationship underscore the story's central idea? And what is the central idea? So here, by the end of paragraph 6, we should have an idea of what the central idea is and how does their relationship, how they feel toward each other, how does that play into the central or the main idea of the story, like the theme, okay? And then finally, you're going to do, excuse me, you're going to answer number 5. How does the author's use of language contribute to the narrator's voice in this story? When we're talking about voice in literature, we're talking about the narrator's emotions, the narrator's attitude, the narrator's tone. Okay, so that's what voice in literature is. So how does the author's use of language contribute to the narrator's voice in the story? So basically think of these questions. Do any of the author's word choices make you laugh? And then what kind of sentences does the author use? Are they short or long? And do you trust the narrator? That's all part of voice. So how does everything that the author, like the way that the author writes, how does that contribute to voice, to how it sounds? I hope that makes sense. If you have any questions about that, please let me know, definitely. Okay, so that is your homework or your classwork for today. And then tomorrow, we are going to delve in a little bit deeper about literary devices, and we're going to be talking about irony and allusion and commentary. We talked a little bit about commentary last year. So again, you're going to answer questions 1, 2, and 5, and I will talk to you guys tomorrow.